While reading through the 8 articles, nearly all are highlighting similar points on what makes a good speech and how we can build confidence while delivering this speech. So, one of the most important factors is storytelling, which is discussed in Distill Your Message, Stellar Presentation, Presenting Like a Story, and Most Inspiring Speeches have these 4 things in common. In Most Inspiring Speeches, these 4 things have in common. It actually states that we're wired to remember stories. This is going to allow you to take your audience on a journey, which is going to make you much more memorable. It's also going to allow your audience to stay a lot more engaged, and it's going to avoid you sounding like you're reading from a script. Another thing here is structure is definitely key. Structuring your presentation like a story with a clear beginning, middle, and end is very, very important. This is going to allow your listeners to follow along easy and stay engaged, not feeling like they're trying to flip through pages and figure out what's going on. The beginning is something that is actually very powerful, and it's your chance to hook your audience right away, and this is talked about in How to Give a Stellar Presentation. Another thing that's also talked about there is that in the beginning of the speech, you want to make sure that you're not babbling on about yourself or small talk that doesn't actually have to do with anything that's going to be going on in your speech. This is a good way to lose your audience, which is what you do not want to do. Another critical step is knowing your audience. And How to Give a Stellar Presentation explains that you should deliver our message from the listener's point of view. When you connect with your audience, your words resonate much more rather than if you're speaking for yourself. You want to make sure you're speaking for your audience so you can get them on board with what you're talking about. Ethics also plays a very big role in good public speaking. In ethical communication, it reminds us that speakers have a responsibility to acquire accurate knowledge, to respect their audience's values, and understand how their message impacts their listeners. And of course, with all of this, I think we can all say that public speaking is probably one of the most nerve-wracking things that we can do. In the article, Speaking with Confidence, Intro to Public Speaking, and 5 Ways to Get Over Public Speaking Fears, they all agree one of the best ways to gain confidence is to actually know your material. When you're speaking on something that you're comfortable with, it's going to allow your confidence to naturally grow, as well as for you to feel like you don't have to know exactly what you're supposed to say when, because you know of this topic deeply. Another thing that is probably the best thing you can do is practice. This is a really, really essential tool. Speaking with confidence stresses that if you rehearse, it's going to help you to deliver a smooth speech naturally. But then on the other hand, you want to make sure that you're not reading literally from a script, because you don't want to sound scripted. That can allow you to sound monotone, which will cause your audience to disengage with what you're saying. So the more you put yourself out there, the more confident you'll become over time, and the better you will get at public speaking.